Members of the J Area, welcome back to another edition of the J Area Wrestling Show. My name is Jose Ramos Jr., welcoming you to a special Thursday night live stream as we take a look at the weekend ahead. We have two huge pay-per-view / PLE events this upcoming weekend. We're talking about AEW All Out emanating from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and of course WWE's Wrestlepalooza that will take place in Indianapolis, Indiana. Two huge pay-per-views for their respective, brands. AEW, of course, All Out. It is going to be an event without their three biggest stars, you could argue, of course, being Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Swerve Strickland, and still being able to put up a pretty decent card in terms of a pay-per-view attraction. On the flip side, WWE, of course, has their new deal with ESPN that has their premium live events emanating from the ESPN app, and the first event to do so is Wrestlepalooza. So you knew that the WWE was going to load up Wrestlepalooza for two huge reasons. One, for the ESPN deal, and also because we knew it was going to go head-to-head with AEW's pay-per-view All Out. Of course, as of late, though, we know that All Out was moved up a couple hours earlier in today, so although it's not necessarily directly head-to-head, it is still two huge monumental events taking place on the same day. Of course, I'm going to try to keep up with everything wrestling related. If you can't, then you know I will and help catch you back up. AEW All Out will be taking place earlier in the day, and then Wrestlepalooza will be in the evening. There are 10 matches on the All Out card. For the main card, not the pre-show or the 0 hour. 10 matches on the main card. And as of right now, Wrestlepalooza has 5 matches scheduled. So we're going to go through each matchup here, give our thoughts, give our takes, and essentially our predictions as to who walks out of each matchup the victor. But before we do that, I want to send a quick shout out to everybody here in the J Area taking their time to join us in the live stream, join us talking professional wrestling, as well as those that have taken the time to subscribe to the channel so that they can be a part of the discussion. Remember, guys, you can only participate in the chat if you are subscribed to the channel. And if you want to voice your opinions, share your predictions, go ahead and subscribe and sound off in the chat below. Also, I want to give a shout out to those as members of the Main Event Mafia continuing to support the channel as well as supporting this venture here on YouTube. It would not be possible without you guys. So all the love and support towards our Main Event Mafia members. Let's take a quick look at the chat here. I see our friend LJ's in the chat. Says, hi, Jose, it's been a long time. Glad to see you, buddy. Glad you can make it. I said, I'm sorry that I haven't been showing up to the streams. It's all good. You're here now. Of course, there's this crazy thing called life, and you got your other things going on. Totally get it. But the fact is you're here tonight. We appreciate you, and we hope you look forward to the discussion ahead, as well as the wrestling that will transpire over the next couple of days. LJ also says, I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus. On Disney, oh yeah, that's right, because they have like that bundle, right, with ESPN. You can have ESPN, Disney Plus, and Hulu, all as a bundle. Shout out to Will the Savage, a good member here of the Main Event Mafia. You can tell because Will's name is highlighted green, and also it has that championship icon next to their name, distinguishing them as a member of the Main Event Mafia. Shout out to Will there as well. As we begin the discussion here, I want to talk about AEW All Out. We don't get a lot of talk about AEW. A lot of it is in, the WWE. And that's totally fine. I grew up a huge fan of wrestling, namely through the WWE. And as I grew older and was able to, get a better understanding of the sport, get a little bit of an understanding of the entertainment of it all, I was able to expand to other promotions. AEW is still relatively new. So we'll talk about AEW here, and then we'll jump into WWE Wrestlepalooza, because that's, with all due respect to AEW, I'm looking forward to their card. Wrestlepalooza is kind of what I'm really looking forward to, but still, looking forward to both shows nonetheless. LJ says, yeah, I've been in school, I'm in the 5th grade. Well, shout out to you, man. First of all, I remember when I was in 5th grade. And man, that was a while ago. It was good times. I'm glad that you're able to join us here on the live. Glad to see that we have fans of wrestling across all demographics. I mean, we've had people who are grown, people who are young, clearly. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for stopping by. Luis is also in the chat. Says, hi, Jose. Hope you had a good week. Happy to catch the live tonight. I've had a pretty good week. I can't complain. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well as well. Glad to see you in the chat again, Luis. It's been a minute, but hey, like I said, glad to see you back, buddy. But we're doing good. We had a little bit of rain over here, so that's a welcome sight. I'm a big fan of the rain. We don't get it too often out here, but I digress. Let's just jump right into it, right? AEW, All Out, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Should be a hot crowd. Should be a great crowd. The Canadians always know how to have a great wrestling time. And I feel like this will be no different. The first matchup I want to talk on the card here is a trios matchup. We have Ricochet and the Gates of Agony and taking on the Hurt Syndicate. Obviously, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Bobby Lashley. This is one of those matchups where I really don't have much to add to the conversation. It's the Hurt Syndicate. The Hurt Syndicate should go over. The way they've been presenting the Gates of Agony and Ricochet, I cannot take them as a credible threat to the Hurt Syndicate. Yes, they've been a little bit of a thorn in the side of Bobby Lashley and company, but I genuinely cannot see anyone taking the pin here from the Hurt Syndicate. Shelton is a credible athlete. MVP maybe could take the pin because he's been more of a managerial role in the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley for sure will not be taking the pin. That I know for sure. LJ says, but I need to go to sleep. I will see you Monday. Jose, I hope you have fun. I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by. I hope to see you on Monday. Get some rest, buddy. Stay in school, as always. I'm a big advocate for that. So I'm glad you could stop by and join us, man. But with the Hurt Syndicate, and I'm going to get to Luis's comment here in a second, I can't see anyone taking the pin. Whereas the Gates of Agony, I'm going to tell you right now, it is a little bit of a struggle to come up with the other names of the Gates of Agony with Ricochet. With that being said, Hurt Syndicate can go over. I would be very surprised to see them take the loss here. Will the Savages, so say I got a question about the fact how TKO and WWE thought it was a good idea to put WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia in 2027. Like, half of these wrestlers don't want to be at Saudi. And not only that, great comment here by Will, and we did address this on a previous stream, but I'm totally okay going back into it. Because you bring up a good point, that it's been well documented in the past, the reservations that a lot of the wrestlers on the roster have about the Saudi Arabia show. But I think one thing that kind of got left out on the open there during the last stream is the restrictions on the women wrestlers, on the women's roster. The cultural differences in Saudi Arabia and the expectations there, it does take a little bit of a toll on that side of the roster, I would imagine. To me, it's really become apparent how influential the business side of things has deterred TKO away from the wrestling side of things. We know that, I believe the number was $5 million that Las Vegas had put in to have them host WrestleMania, whereas WrestleMania, 40, the next WrestleMania here, I'm losing track of my numbers, WrestleMania 43 in 2027, reportedly it's $250 million by Saudi Arabia to have that show there, which is a pretty penny to be, paying for a WrestleMania. That just shows me that that's what really we're focusing on, is TKO and WWE, is the business side of things. I've said it in a previous stream that the comments that were made by one of the heads at TKO, being that Vince McMahon was targeting his ticket sales to families and didn't bother maximizing his profit. And it's like, well, ideally, yeah, you want to be targeting towards families because you can have upwards of multiple streams of revenue, whether it's ticket sales, merchandise, coming back to the show. If you're going to sell tickets at a high expense, you are now alienating those fans, those families that watch the shows like you and I on a weekly basis, and now they're not even going to be able to attend the show. Which brings up a great point. In Saudi Arabia, how many people are going to go to the show? I'm probably confident that a lot of people from Saudi Arabia will go, but now you're pricing out fans on other parts of the world, whereas in the North American region of the world, you can have people from Canada, from Mexico, from London. Everybody travels over to North America. Is that going to happen? for WrestleMania 43? I don't know. We have to wait and see. But I do hear you, and I agree with you there. Muhammad says, hi and happy Thursday. Shout out, Muhammad. Glad you could be here. Says, I hope you're doing well, and same with everybody here. We're all in this together despite what's going on in the world. You know what? I hear you, and I had this discussion with friends and family earlier today. With this stream, though, I do want to just focus on the pro wrestling. For me, pro wrestling was always an escape from reality, and if I'm able to alleviate any type of stress or any type of negative mindsets for anybody out there with our talk on wrestling, that is going to be my goal, because wrestling was always there for me during the toughest of times, and I would like to think that this is an opportunity for you guys to just step away from reality and just come hang out with some friends. So I hear you, and I'm glad you could be here. Will the Savages, I still feel that at least if there were any first international WrestleManias, should have been in Portugal. Wow. You know what? I never would have considered Portugal to be one. I don't remember the last time they had an event there. It might have been a live event, certainly not a pay-per-view or Raw or SmackDown. I would not be opposed to it. However, for the first international WrestleMania, I think it should have been in London or maybe even in France, based off of the last string of shows that we've seen in France. I think those two were heavy hitters to be in consideration. Portugal maybe in the future, but in terms of the first one, I think it should have been London or France, for sure. Robert's back in the chat, says, what's up, Jose? My friend, I am not buying ESPN Plus, all about the money. Good luck, TKO, with trying to present WWE like the UFC. Yeah. And you know what? I've been looking into the VPN, and I'm thinking about it, because then you can get Netflix and have it for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, premium live events. So if that's something you're interested in, consider doing VPN and just getting it through Netflix. Something to think about. I know I'm considering it, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know if I do end up going through it and keep you updated on the benefits of it, I suppose. But shout out to everybody in the chat so far. Lively chat. I love it already. We're talking about the predictions for AEW All Out and WrestlePalooza. We talked about the Hurt Syndicate going over on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. WrestlePalooza is really where the meat and potatoes are for me in terms of the conversation. That's where it's really my forte. With All Out, there's a lot of matches on the card that I feel like are just simple predictions. Like, it just makes sense. They are really predicated on providing good wrestling content, and it's not really as complex or nuanced as what the WWE, I think, tries to do. Eddie Kingston versus Big Bill is a matchup that really got this thrown together. I'm surprised we're not hyping up Eddie Kingston's return as this huge surprise, or really capitalizing on the moment of Eddie Kingston coming back and just announcing that, hey, he's going to face Big Bill at All Out. I feel like it was very much anticlimactic. I think we could have done a better job with Eddie Kingston's return, certainly because Eddie Kingston's one of the stalwarts of AEW. He's become one of the best wrestlers on the roster just from a presentation standpoint. Not to say he's not a good wrestler, but I just mean total package. Eddie Kingston's one of the more entertaining stars on the roster. And so to have him just face Big Bill, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like it could have been a lot bigger of a deal, if I do say so myself. I do think, though, you don't bring back Eddie Kingston just to lose. And for that reason, I find it very elementary. I find it very simple. Eddie Kingston goes over against Big Bill, which, by the way, is pretty fascinating to have him go over someone as big as Bill. I think it could have been probably more sensical to have him against Brian Keith, just because of the size differential. But I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston. Speaking of size differential, the current reigning and defending AEW World Tag Team Champions are held by Bandito and Brody King Brodito, which I think is a pretty cool name, who've only held the titles for about a month now. And they're going to be defending it in a fatal 4-way ladder match. You guys know. You guys already know how I feel about the ladder match. It's my favorite stipulation. I love a good multi-person ladder match. This will be a 4-team ladder match. Brodito, the reigning and defending AEW World Tag Team Champions, versus the team of Jet Speed, Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, as well as the Don Callis families, Hechicero and Josh Alexander, and of course, one of the most influential tag teams of this generation, whether you like to accept it or not, the Young Bucks. I'm looking forward to this because I love Josh Alexander's work. Hechicero's matchup against Bandito at the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view was exceptional. Jet Speed, I'm a fan of, and Brody King and Bandito. I mean, come on. Everyone involved in this matchup, I have stakes on. I have an investment on, and it's a ladder match, and it's tag team wrestling. Sign me up. The Young Bucks, I feel like, have hit a little bit of a lull with their character, but I feel like we're really getting down to it, and I like what I see. Most recently, they won that, what was it, $500,000 matchup, and they have a little bit of money in their pockets here. I don't think they win, though. I think whenever it comes to a multi-team ladder match like this, it allows the opportunity to protect other competitors in it, and so I don't think the Bucks are going to win it. I don't think Alexander and Hechicero win it. Jet Speed might be the dark horse to win this matchup, and if I thought the championships were going to change hand, I'd go with Jet Speed, but I think the team of Brodito had just won the tag titles. I can't see them just dropping it in a month's time. I just feel like it's too quick. It's like, what are we doing? We also have another set of championships on the line. The Unified Championship held by Kazuchika Okada, defends it in a three-way against Máscara Dorada and Konosuke Takeshita. Try saying all of those names. I love the story right now that's being told between Okada and Takeshita, both members of the Don Callis family. A little bit of jealousy, a little bit of envy involved between these two as to who is the best wrestler in the family. Takeshita has kind of seemed to distance himself from the family and become his own individual. I think Okada has done as much as he could with that championship. He's held it for well over a year, nearly 2 years now it feels. I think we've done all we can do with Okada and that title. Take the title off of him, move him up to the main event scene, maybe have Okada versus Hangman Page as a possibility. But I do think that with three ways, similar to the ladder match, it's an opportunity to protect the champion and protect the main star. Okada is not taking the pin here. I'm willing to put everything that Takeshita pins Dorada in this matchup, wins the Unified Championship, moves forward with the championship so that Okada can move up to the main event title scene and potentially challenge for that world championship. Book it in pen. Permanent marker if you want. If there's anything you take away from this stream, Takeshita pins Dorada in that three-way to win the Unified Championship. Let's go to the chat here. Gianna Forever, one of the big MVPs of the stream. I appreciate you very much. I cannot thank you for the love and support enough for the stream and for the channel. Again, one of the biggest supporters that we have on these lives, along with other members of the Main Event Mafia. I can't thank you. It's speechless, really. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Mohammed says, is it really true that we're having both pay-per-views on Saturday, including AEW All Out and WrestlePalooza in the same day? This is correct. All Out will be taking place earlier in the day, and then WrestlePalooza will be in the evening. They were going head-to-head, but AEW was, I think, smart enough to move it up to try to get the most viewers that they can. AEW will be happening earlier in the day, and then you have WrestlePalooza in the evening. Depending where you are, I'm not the best with the time zones and conversions, so you have to do a little bit of homework there and check out in what time do these shows start in your city. So, but they are taking place on Saturday. Will says, I'm thinking about getting Netflix for the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul fight on November 14th, but I don't know. I mean, I have Netflix regardless, so I'm really happy that we're doing more events with Netflix, like boxing. We just saw Canelo Alvarez, versus Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford, and I like it. I like the fact that Netflix is doing that with the boxing events. It beats having to pay $70 for a pay-per-view. Do I watch UFC? Not really. Not really. WrestlePalooza will be great. I agree, Joanna Forever. I'm looking forward to WrestlePalooza. We're talking about All Out for now, and then we're going to get to WrestlePalooza, so stick around towards the end of the stream, and we'll jump into there. Kevin, What's going on, man? Glad to see you, buddy. Glad you can help us out here on a Thursday night stream. Says, where does Batista rank of all time? That's a tough question, man. I mean, for me, I can put him on a short list of my favorite ruthless aggression wrestlers. I can't put him all time. That's very difficult. I feel like if you're doing a top 100, though, again, this is not giving it too much thought because there are so many guys you can think of and girls to think about on this list. But if we're doing a top 100, I personally think Batista would probably end up in that like 60s to 50 range. I think I could name 50 wrestlers above Batista, but I love Batista. I'm a big fan of his. I just feel like to do him service, it would be to narrow it down to his generation. And in the Ruthless Aggression era, you can make an argument of a top 10 guy. It will be overlapped, and it will make better sense if AM All Out was on Sunday. I mean, yeah, because originally it was going to go head to head, but Tony Khan bumped it up to the afternoon, which I think was a smart play. Batista was the definition of a pro wrestler. Certainly was the look. I mean, when you think about a pro wrestler and you just AI generated an image of what a pro wrestler is, Batista, yeah, I'm with you. Robert says, have you noticed how little these guys are today? MJF is maybe 5'8". Did you see the shot of Edge and Christian standing next to FTR? They look like Andre the Giant, and they were small in the 90s. It certainly has changed because the style has changed. I mean, back then it was the land of the giants, right? In the 80s and the 90s, you had your hulking figures like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, like so many big hulking guys, the Ultimate Warrior. Like they were big boys. And then in the Ruthless Aggression, not the Ruthless Aggression, the new generation era, you saw it became a little bit more athletic. You saw guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, 1-2-3 Kid. They started getting smaller. Nowadays, because of the indie circuit, you have even smaller guys. I mean, a guy like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson really opened the doors for like the average wrestler nowadays. Your guys like Roddy Strong, Adam Cole, like all those guys, the Young Bucks that came from the indie scene. They've all kind of gotten more compact, yet more athletic as well. I think there's a style for everybody in pro wrestling. I like the style that we have right now because it adds so many different layers. You still have your technicians, you have your high flyers, and then you do have like your big meaty men out there doing battle, like your Big Bill and your Powerhouse Hobbs, just to name a few. There's a little bit of everything for everybody, but yes, you can tell that there is a size differential based off of the last 30 years. Any chance of Jericho coming back this Sunday on All Out, or this Saturday on All Out? Maybe. I would say slim, very slim, but there is a chance. Cena versus Lesnar is a great way to end this Cena era. Oh, we're going to get to it, Kevin. Trust me. Apparently, WrestlePalooza is a name that ECW used for their pay-per-view mocking WrestleMania. Yes, it was a pay-per-view event in the 90s that Extreme Championship Wrestling had used. I thought it was very interesting that they used it for the first ESPN pay-per-view, though. For some reason, WrestleMania doesn't work out in Saudi Arabia. What is Plan B, like a backup plan? I would be surprised if they do have a backup plan because Saudi Arabia paid $250 million to have it there. I don't think there is a Plan B. I think they will have some backlash from the fans, but with a deal like that, can you back out of a $250 deal? Like, that's pretty substantial. If they did have a Plan B, though, I don't know. I personally don't think they will. In a phrase, they sold out. Will says there are no more tall dudes in the wrestling industry, and the only tall dude in WWE is Omos, and they don't use him. It's all about athleticism. There was a time where you had to be able to talk and look the character, but now it's just, can you wrestle? It's really what it's become. We talked about MJF in the chat there by Sir Robert. The next matchup here on the card, tables and thumbtacks between MJF and Mark Briscoe. I always want to say Jay, but it's Mark Briscoe. Again, it's a simple matchup here. MJF versus Briscoe. I think Mark can take the loss and be fine. MJF was literally just in the title picture, having lost to Hangman Page at the last pay-per-view. I can't see him losing this matchup. I really don't. I feel like whenever they do these stipulation matches and it's favoring one certain wrestler, it always goes the other way. I'm going to go with MJF to take this win and still maintain a presence in the main event scene. The coffin matchup, Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. Again, similar answer. The matchup favors Darby Allin. Moxley was just in the title picture. I can't see him taking this loss, and Darby can take it and be fine. I'm going to go Moxley, and we're going to see some interference by the Death Riders. Maybe Danny Garcia, for sure Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of interference allowing Moxley to take the victory here. The TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné looks to defeat Rio. I have nothing against Rio, but Mercedes is not losing to Rio. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely floored if Rio beat Mercedes, who has like 9 championships at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know who's going to beat Mercedes for this title, but it's not going to be Rio. We're going to stick with the women's here. In the Women's World Championship, it will be a 4-way. Toni Storm defends her championship against Thekla, against Chris Statlander, and against Jamie Hayter. I'm looking forward to this matchup. All 4 of these women can go. All 4 of them. There's an argument to be made that all 4 of these women could walk out with the championship. But in the promo, this last Dynamite, the September to Remember episode of Dynamite, Toni Storm made it very abundantly clear. She kept saying, if this is my last match, if I lose the championship. I feel like that's a red herring. I feel like we're only saying all these things to make people think that she's going to lose, when in fact, she gets the win. Who does she pin, though? Statlander? No. Does she pin Jamie Hayter? I don't think so. Do we go with Tekla as to take the pin there? I think you might. I'm going to go Toni Storm here. But I'm not really very confident in it. But I'm going to go Toni. Muhammad says the Great Khali, the Big Show, and Giant Gonzalez. Truthfully, I'm not a fan of any of them. The Big Show probably the most. But Khali and Gonzalez, pass. Your thoughts on Ronda Rousey's comments? Which comments? Because, I mean, I feel like she says a lot. You know, she's always talking about something. So help me out there, Robert. Kevin says, do you think the WWE will get back to the superstar / media level of the Attitude Era? The roster felt like rock stars. I feel like we're there, Kevin. I honestly feel like we are. Look at people like Ronda Rousey, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Like, we're never going to match the Attitude Era exactly because Rock, Austin, Taker, those guys are legends. But I feel like we are the closest we've been to it in terms of the media level. Everyone knows Rhea, Cena, Roman, Cody. The top stars right now, Jey Uso. The top stars right now, that's going to piss people off, by the way, by saying Jey Uso, because I know there's a lot of people that don't like Jey. But I feel like we are in that era right now. Especially with the numbers that they're doing in the business. MJF is better than Logan Paul because he has been a better heel than Logan. Like, okay, I agree. Like MJF actually spilled water on a kid. I remember that. But Logan Paul just does nothing really healing to these fans like MJF. I will say, give Logan Paul his credit. He has certainly adapted very well to pro wrestling. In terms of heel work, though, it would be very difficult to find someone on the same level of MJF. He really dedicates to the craft and really sells as much of a heel performance as he can. He really does come off as a prick, and I'm for it. He's old school. MJF, I think, is a better heel than Logan Paul. JBL said Ronda Rousey doesn't like wrestling or caring about wrestling. Yeah, well, I'm sure for Ronda it was all business anyway. Look at the way she went about, her persona on TV. And she never wanted to tap out. She never wanted to lose because it would hurt her credibility as a UFC fighter. But it's like, you're not in the UFC anymore. You're in pro wrestling. So it was certainly an adjustment period for her to go from combat sports to, pro wrestling. But I think that's why it essentially didn't work out in the end. Now I understand why the Big Show's knees are cooked. There's no reason a 7-foot giant should be doing drop kicks. His athleticism was insane. Big Show in the early 2000s, yeah, was insane. I remember there was a spot, I think it was in 01, where he does like a kip up. He uses the ropes. Granted, he uses the ropes, but the Big Show basically kips up from the ground. And it's like, I thought that was super impressive, and shout out to him to be able to do that. Speaking of old Attitude Era wrestlers, the the pay-per-view of All Out taking place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I love saying the three of them. Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Shout out to our Canadian friends. Is all about the tag team match between the the FTR team. Dude, San Fran almost got me there. Says you're muted. I'm not muted. You know how I'm not muted? Because I keep my phone off to the side so I know I'm live. Come on now. You gotta try better than that, buddy. It's centered around FTR versus the team of Edge and Christian. Sorry, I meant Cope and Christian Cage. Never gonna get used to it. Having Cope and Christian Cage together, man, it just feels right. I'm so excited to see this tag team matchup. FTR, one of the best tag team wrestlers in the division, maybe even in the world, versus one of my favorite tag teams ever, in Edge and Christian. I know he goes by Cope, but it's tough for me not to say Edge. This matchup is hard to predict. You know, it's tough because they're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the hometown of Edge and Christian. And if history tells us anything, the hometown hero takes the L. But I just can't see Cage and Cope losing in Toronto. But on the flip side, it's like, if Cope and Christian take this win, does it finish the feud with FTR? Or does FTR take the win and then we move forward into a feud, into a proper feud between the four individuals? I'm going to think, if I put my booking hat on, I'm going to say we go with the good vibes and have Christian Cage and Adam Copeland win the matchup. They beat FTR. But then we have a little post-match shenanigans, and FTR absolutely decimates Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. I'm going to take Edge and Christian to take the win here, and an FTR just demolishes them after, so we can move forward into the next matchup, because I don't think it's going to be one and done. I don't think this match is going to be the only time we see these two teams face off. Muhammad says Ronda Rousey is the female version of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and maybe John Cena too. I disagree. I would Brock Lesnar. I could agree with you. I could agree with you with Brock Lesnar because of their presence in the UFC, their style in the ring, their presentation. But Roman Reigns and John Cena, I would disagree. If anything, I feel like for Roman, in terms of presentation and just character work, is Ronda. Or sorry, not Ronda, Rhea Ripley. And I think John Cena, I get Bianca Belair vibes. Personally. Will the Savage says, there was this one indie show that I went to and I met Jacob Fatu's sister and she was wrestling and she gave her opponent the Sting face. I mean, it's in the family, of course. No, Ronda was not their level. I mean, yeah, wasn't on their level for sure. But I think if you're going to make a comparison for like the women's division, I think Lesnar would have been appropriate. Muhammad says, imagine Tyson Tomko or Gangrel make a debut in AEW to join Cope and Christian Cage. I think you'd probably have a better shot of Gangrel showing up. I mean, he has in the past for Adam Copeland's Steel Cage match against Malachi Black, but I don't think either of them show up. What's going on, Reese? Reese is in the chat. Shout out to Reese. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here on a Thursday, talking about AEW, All Out, and Wrestlepalooza. We just talked about Cope and Cage versus FTR. I have the Canadians going over, but essentially getting beat down after the matchup. And the main event, at least I'm thinking it's the main event, the AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page, defends the championship against the TNT champion, Kyle Fletcher. A matchup that I think is really flying under the radar by most standards. Yes, we know Kyle Fletcher is a young prodigy. Yes, we know Hangman Adam Page is the current reigning defending world champion of AEW. But this is a matchup that I think has a chance to really pull off the match of the weekend. I think Hangman Adam Page has increasingly gotten better over the last couple of years, and Kyle Fletcher's sky is the limit when it comes to the Protostar. This is not a matchup that I had on my bingo card for main events of an AEW pay-per-view, but the fact is it's in line to do so, and I'm looking forward to it. With that being said, you remember what I said about Takeshita and how I said, if you're going to remember anything from this stream, is that Takeshita pins Dorada to win the Unified Championship. You can book it right now in permanent red ink. Hangman Page will beat Kyle Fletcher. It's just not his time. Maybe in the future, maybe soon, but not this Saturday. Hangman goes over, continuing this reign as world champion for however long it goes. But we're going to rock with the cowboy. And he's going to continue with his cowboy shiznit. I'm going Hangman Adam Page. That's All Out. If you guys agreed with my predictions for All Out, let me know in the chat, in the comments as well. If there's anything I missed, please make sure to share them. But for now, we're going to jump into Wrestlepalooza because there are not one, but two major premium live events taking place this upcoming weekend. We talked about AEW, now to talk about the WWE. Wrestlepalooza will be taking place this Saturday evening, and it's coming from Indianapolis, Indiana. You know about the whole deal that WWE has with Indianapolis. The matchup, though, that I'm going to talk about first was just revealed to be the opener of the matchup, the opener of the show. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena will open Wrestlepalooza, as reported earlier today. What a way to start the show. I thought for sure, right? I thought for sure that was going to be the main event. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, that just screams marquee matchup. But it's not. It's going to be the opener, which means it's going to be a pretty short night for Brock Lesnar. He's going to probably have this one matchup and then skedaddle right after. And this matchup, of all the matches at Wrestlepalooza, this is the one I struggled with the most. Now I'm going to help you walk through my thought process here. John Cena is on his retirement tour, obviously. He's facing against Brock Lesnar, who has not been seen for over a year now. And my thought process is always like, well, we're not just going to bring a guy back just to have him lose. So by default, you would think Lesnar goes over, right? And we could do this whole story where Cena loses and he's now losing his confidence. Like, man, we're unwinding on the final days of the retirement tour. I don't know if I still have it. Should I just retire now? All this self-doubt creeping in for Cena. Brock Lesnar decimates him. We don't see him until Crown Jewel a month later. A lot could be told with this story. Or you can continue this trend of John Cena going over and winning. Cena lull. That's like a one final trait for the fans and give him a chance to go out as a winner, because we know he only has like 6 days left in his retirement tour. But because it's the opening of the show, that changes my perspective. Because if it's the closer, it's like, do we send the crowd happy? Do we have a cliffhanger to lead into the next matchup? Does someone show up post-matchup? That's always a possibility. But because it's the opener now, we're setting the tone for the show. And on top of that, something else can be the happy ending for the pay-per-view. Just saying. With it now being the opener, I'm going to go Brock Lesnar wins. I think Brock wins, to go back on that theory that you don't bring a guy back just to lose. But also it builds up sympathy for John. You feel for Cena. Man, he almost had Lesnar. What's next for John? Can he do it? Can he finish the career the way he wants to? Can he win a match to end his career? And you build up sympathy. Brock beats Cena, he leaves, goes to the back, and then gives Cena this last opportunity to say goodbye to Indianapolis. I think Lesnar goes over. And I think it's going to be one hell of a fight. Kevin says, if you were the owner of the WWE and TKO and had the budget, would you buy your own would I buy AEW? I don't know. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't buy AEW, man. I just feel like competition's too good to have. I don't think they're a credible threat to the WWE just yet. I think if they're going to buy somebody, it's TNA. because they could use that to their own advantage and have it become like this feeder into the WWE machine and own them the way they own AAA. If they're gonna buy a promotion, it's TNA, not AEW. If I'm the WWE. What's up, Tyler? Says yo. Muhammad says this upcoming November in Survivor Series, there was speculation that it will be Triple H team versus HBK. Any chance of Randy or Gargano? I don't think that was legitimate. I think that was just a throwaway line at the NXT Homecoming event. I think that was just for, poops and giggles. I don't think there's actually going to be Team Triple H versus Team Shawn Michaels because we haven't gotten any follow-up on it. Granted, that was just Tuesday, but I think it was just for the laughs and to have William Regal come out and say War Games. I'm not buying it. Kevin says, I agree with you, Jose. Brock beating Cena makes the most sense. Cena has clearly lost a step since 2014. Granted, it's been, 11 years, for sure. I think it makes more sense to have Brock go over. Reese asks, do you think Ron Cena interferes? I would not bet on it, but it is a possibility. He's close with John, and that interaction with Brock last week, maybe he comes in and splits Lesnar's pants again. I'm going to say no. I don't think so. However, I wouldn't bet against it. I think it's a decent shot. But I wouldn't say a great shot. Tyler says, Raja Jackson has been arrested for his brutal attack on pro wrestler. Yep. He's currently held behind bars. Yeah, I did see that. It took him long enough. It took some time there. Tyler also says, I think I'm feeling like TNA versus NXT War Games incoming. I agree with this. I don't think Team Triple H and Shawn is going to happen, but I do think we're going to get a Team TNA versus NXT. 100%, and I'm down for it. I love a good brand warfare. Sign me up. Absolutely. Especially now that we're going to have title versus title, Oba Femi versus Trick Williams, winner takes all on next NXT. I think it's very much a possibility. That is something I would bet on, TNA versus NXT. But we talked about the Wrestlepalooza opener. Brock goes over Cena. Let's talk about the Women's World Championship in a matchup that I think could steal the show. Io Sky, the former world champion, versus the very hot prospect of Stephanie Vaquer. I mean, since she jumped onto the scene at Forbidden Door last year and then coming to the WWE, first to NXT and then the main roster, she's been on fire. She's been doing great. Her matches, fantastic. Her connection with the crowd, fantastic. Her work has been steadily improving, and also give a shout out to her for picking up English as a second language, and I think doing pretty well. I think. Her matchup against Io, though, I mean, I want to say I told you guys so, but it's like, you guys know I watch this stuff all the time. I keep up with the program. I've seen enough to know the trends. When Naomi went out and said, I'm having a baby, and I'm going to be relinquishing the world championship, the first thing I said was, well, Io was promised a matchup. Stephanie was in line for a matchup. Have them two go at it and settle the score, because every time they went out and competed against one another, it was magic, and we never got a definitive winner in those matches. And now, the rubber match. And now we can finally have a definitive matchup here to determine who is the winner. And with that being said, Io right now is in a situation with her former Damage Control members, Asuka and Kairi, saying, I'm going to go Stephanie Vaquer. It was weird saying it like that. Stephanie Vaquer to win the matchup and win her first set of singles gold on the main roster. It should be a fantastic matchup. I'm looking forward to it, certainly. Sanford says, fun fact, it's National Cheeseburger Day. What's your favorite cheeseburger, guys? If you're a burger guy or girl, let me know what's your favorite cheeseburger. Mine's In-N-Out. Tony Khan says he's interested in running a huge event. This is true, and I honestly don't blame him. Take advantage of that. The WWE is not going to be in North America come spring of 2027. Take advantage of that. 100%. Reese, Stephanie wins. Asuka turns on Sky. I agree. I hate to see interference in such a great matchup, but I think, yeah. I think Io loses. Asuka maybe interferes. Maybe Kairi interferes. And Stephanie goes over, even though she should go over cleanly. Next up, I want to talk about the Usos versus the Vision. What's going on with Jey Uso has been fascinating to see him kind of divulge into this Roman-like character where he's trying to maintain control over basically his brother, his older brother, Jimmy. The Vision right now with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, I enjoy them. I think they're great together. But I think the endings of Raw have become very formulaic. I don't see the Usos losing this matchup, though. I just don't. Them teaming up together. But then on the flip side, it's like the Vision has already lost a few matches already, hurting their momentum maybe. Initially, I think I'm going to change my pick. I think I'm going to go Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I just have this feeling. Jimmy and Jay, something's going to happen. They're not going to be on the same page because of what's going on between Jay and Jimmy. Jay's ego right now is getting to him. I think Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker win. I think I'm going to call an audible. I'm going to go with the Vision there. Next up, we have the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. I mean, this is a marquee matchup here. Drew McIntyre, the MVP of 2024. Cody Rhodes, the quarterback of the WWE over the last couple of years and the reigning and defending two-time WWE Champion, faces off against the Scottish psychopath McIntyre. Finally getting a shot here at Cody in a big matchup here. But I can't see Cody losing. He just won at SummerSlam. He's going to be riding a wave of momentum probably all the way to WrestleMania. I do think that we're going to have Cody go over here. And I still think it sets up Randy Orton versus Cody. I'm not ready to have Cody lose that championship just yet. So sorry, Drew. Maybe next time. Sanford says, what's your in and out order? You know my in and out order, buddy. Come on now. It's a simple cheeseburger. I don't do onions. I'm crazy. I'm sorry. Regular French fries and a 7-Up. I'm basic, dude. I'm boring. I'm basic. I know what I like, but hey. It's crazy that the WWE is literally just pull me away from the WWE products because same matches and everything. Shake my head. I mean, it does get formulaic. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of episodes of Raw and SmackDown that get very formulaic. But for me, I'm always in the long haul. I'm all about the long-term booking and just taking a step back and seeing the bigger picture. But when you really, bring it down to the minute details of every week in and week out, yeah, I could see it being a little bit formulaic. So I won't fault you for that, Tyler. But one thing that isn't formulaic is this mixed tag match, which I think might be main eventing. I don't think it's been official as to what the main event will be. It's either going to be the Cody matchup or this mixed tag matchup, though. The Visions, Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, they go in a tag team match here against CM Punk and AJ Lee. Man, those were my two favorites as a teenager. Punk and AJ. And now getting to see them team back up for the first time in over a decade. It's surreal. It still doesn't feel real to have AJ Lee back. And now we're going to get both of them in a tag team matchup against Becky Lynch, who is the best women's wrestler according to Sports Illustrated. I love that line by her. And Seth Rollins, the world champion. This is a big fight feel to it. Because we know Rollins and Punk have their issues. Becky Lynch, like I said, is a marquee matchup. And AJ Lee making her long-awaited return since her last appearance in the ring 10 years ago. Big deal. Big deal. Huge deal. To the point where it's like, they can't lose. They can't lose. Lee and Punk have to go over, right? It becomes who takes the pinfall. That's always been my question. When it comes to a matchup that has multiple people in it, if you can pick out who loses, you can pick it out by who takes the pin or submits. And I think AJ either pins or makes Becky submit. Because I think we're going to set up a feud between those two. Becky and AJ. I don't think Punk loses, takes the pin here. Because he already lost the world championship. I can't see him pinning Rollins. Because he's the world champion. We're going to want to protect him. But Becky would be a fine choice, I think, to take the L here. So I'm going to go with Punk and AJ winning via Becky Lynch tap out. And those are my predictions, guys. If you guys enjoyed the predictions, make sure you give the video a like, comment down below some of your predictions for either All Out or Wrestlepalooza. If you missed any portion of this stream, it's always available in the archives. Go ahead and check out the full live stream to get my full take on every matchup, on every result for both cards. I'm not going to sign off just yet, but I do want to do a quick plug. Make sure you follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, at @JAreaPod_. Once again, that's at @JAreaPod_ for other aspects of pro wrestling as other content as well. It would really mean a lot if you guys would just follow us there, get updates from us, and as well as find another way to stay in contact with us here at the J Area. We'll go back to here in the chat. Tyler says, I like long story term and everything, but this boring. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. Sanford says, to celebrate National Cheeseburger Day, my In-N-Out order is like Jim Cornette. Dude, Sanford has like a specific In-N-Out order. It gets to the point where he knows everybody's order in this household because he knows the lingo, man. Muhammad says AJ Styles is not slated or scheduled for Wrestlepalooza. Any update or any future holds for the phenomenal one? Well, as of right now, AJ Styles is still, feuding with Dominic at this point. He had a matchup with him not too long ago. We know he defended the Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles. And he's... A little bit of a sneeze there. With AJ Styles, he's not promoted for Wrestlepalooza because right now we're in this transitional phase for AJ Styles. I gotta specify now because there's two AJs on the roster. You saw his promo this past Monday. Excuse me, I sneezed and I still have a little bit. We're clearly going somewhere with this AJ. Somebody, in his words, somebody in the back does not want him there. And I feel like I gotta sneeze again. But I feel like AJ's gonna go through this character change for the better. Because they haven't really done anything with AJ substantial. Where he's going to become resentful. We're going to see the ending of AJ Styles' career pretty soon. He says he doesn't want to go until 50. Last time I checked, I think AJ's about to hit 49 pretty soon. So whatever this change is, I'm looking forward to it. It's something different. It's refreshing. Which is why we're not going to see him at Wrestlepalooza. Because we're now moving for the phenomenal one. What is it exactly? I can't tell you right now. But I am interested to see what it's going to be. Sanford says, oh, this is Sanford's order. A double-double, grilled onions, animal-style fries, a Coke, and a milkshake. In that order. I just can't, dude. We're getting In-N-Out Sunday, aren't we, Sanford? I'm simple. I'm a simple, cheeseburger. Hold the onion, give me some French fries, and a 7-Up. And I'm good to go, man. Sanford says, triple cheese, triple onion, double mayo, Jim Cornette. I can't do a good Jim Cornette impersonation. The Dairy Queen incident, if you know, you know. If you don't, look up Jim Cornette Dairy Queen. It's worth the time. Sanford says, yes, we're getting In-N-Out on Sunday. Because the San Francisco 49ers will be facing off against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. And we're getting In-N-Out. So it's a good weekend. Friday, SmackDown. Saturday, of course, being All Out, Wrestlepalooza. Sunday, football. I'm blessed. And we're blessed to have you all with us here on tonight. Well, hold on, wait a minute. Muhammad says, I'm guessing it's Paul Heyman. I don't know about that one. I think they're probably going to go with a different look.
I heard Jim Cornette and impersonations.
Your voice sounds kind of raspy, though.
I was just eating right now. I know it's National Cheeseburger Day, but I just ate a calzone.
How was it?
That was good. But no, I thought of Bruce Pritchard and his impression. I've been trying to work Bruce Pritchard's impersonation on Jim Cornette. So is it okay if I can?
Hey, I'm not gonna stop you.
Okay.
Do you want to stay off camera doing it or?
Yeah, off camera. I'm kind of lazy. Well, you want triple cheese, triple mayo, double onion.
It's crazy to hear it through the headset too.
Yeah.
If you guys know about the Dairy Queen incident, look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's up
Yeah,
there.
it's up there. Chris Jericho's in it.
I think is Lance Storm in there?
I think so.
I know Chris Candido and Sonny were in the Dairy Queen.
Oh, they were actually eating in there.
Well, no. So
they're in the van.
no, okay. So real quick for backstory, it was after a Smoky Mountain show. If I'm not
it was WCW.
It wasn't WCW, was it?
Yeah. Well, was Jericho in Smoky Mountain?
Jericho was in Smoky
I
Mountain.
don't know that. I thought it was WCW and they were traveling.
Well, it's because I don't think Chris Candido had gone to WCW yet, and it was Jim Cornette. I think it was a Smoky Mountain show.
Mm.
So the point is, it was after a wrestling event, and it was late, and wrestlers have to travel. You know, they got to go to the next town, and they don't have opportunities to really eat, so they went to a Dairy Queen, and it was like super late. And I mean, you have a group of wrestlers again. Jericho, I think Lance Storm was there, Chris Candido, Sonny, Jim Cornette, some other people as well that I can't think of. And they pull up to a drive-thru. A lot of them stayed in the van, but Chris Candido and Sonny didn't want to wait. They went into the Dairy Queen to order, and they were just going to meet them. But it's a bunch of wrestlers. You know the story, but for like the viewers, it's a bunch of wrestlers, and
they got big appetites.
So they ordered a huge order, and by the time they get to the window, they thought that they were joking, and Jim Cornette just goes off saying, well, if you thought we were joking, we wouldn't have ordered the food. And they're hungry, and obviously I can't...
You can't say exactly what it said.
I can't say exactly what Jim Cornette says because it's like super vulgar.
It was so bad. This man literally got out of the car, opened the drive-thru window.
Yeah.
And he just started yelling. Like, I've never seen this man so passionate to burgers and how he's
He just wanted Dairy Queen, bro.
I know. He just wanted a burger.
First of all, do people actually go to Dairy Queen for food? I think we've only had it maybe a couple times in our life. For food.
I don't know, man. No.
I only get the ice cream.
Yeah, I only go for the ice creams or the slushies.
Well, yeah, but it's like for actually food. I don't think I've ever had a burger from Sonic. I had like the chicken tenders, the chicken strips.
Yeah.
That's it.
I heard they got good mozzarella sticks though.
I've heard that too.
But yeah, I just want to stop by and do my Jim Cornette impersonation.
Shout out.
So yeah, I'm working on my voices.
Yeah, your impersonations.
Yeah, I'm trying to do Paul Bearers right now. But it's in the works though. Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, you're still muted.
I'm not muted.
Yeah, I saw you look.
Yeah, I did look.
Yeah. But that's
Can you imagine?
Just a little cameo. All right, so I'll be back in the chat. So
we're about wrapping up too.
yeah.
Kevin says, "Do you think Seth Rollins will rank higher than Batista when his career is done?" I do think so. Certainly from a longevity standpoint, he has won a lot more championships. I think has had a lot better matches than Batista. By no means does that say Batista isn't a great. I do think he's a legend. I think he's great. It's one of my favorites growing up. But I do think Seth Rollins will rank higher, yes. Tyler says, imagine that Cody Rhodes going to the head of creative after he's done from wrestling. I saw that interview that Cody was talking about who could potentially take the position of Triple H with WWE Creative, and he mentioned 3 names. He obviously said himself, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk being another, and Seth Rollins. I think that's fascinating. I think, like, wow. Between the 3 of them, what would the state of the company be? I think Punk and Cody would be tremendous. Seth, I don't know. I feel like, yes. I feel like it could work. I feel like, if anything, it'll be one in NXT and one in the main roster. And I could see Punk and Rollins, maybe not both of them, but maybe one of them doing NXT and helping out the younger crew. Cody, I think, could definitely do NXT as well, but I don't know. Maybe have Cody and Seth both do NXT and then Punk does main roster. Kevin says, Jose, you are my favorite wrestling YouTube. I appreciate that, Kevin. I really do. There's a lot of really talented wrestling content creators out there that I kind of look to for inspiration and for direction, and to be associated with them in that light, it's an honor. It's very humbling. I would not put myself in that same category just yet, maybe, but I feel that we are well on our way. And to hear encouraging words like that mean the world to me. I appreciate that. I will continue to try and do my best with the channel and just consistently grow, not only for the sake of the channel, but for the sake of the people that have been here since the early streams, since like we first started going live, and just wanting to validate and prove all you guys right for choosing to hitch your wagon to this very small YouTube channel, and maybe through time, through dedication and hard work, of course, seeing it blossom into something big, and you could say, hey, you know what? I was there from the beginning. And then to know that I try to acknowledge all you guys in the chat for choosing to come out and hang out with us, so that, hey, when we do, potentially make it big, I can say these were the first set of people that believed in us here at the J area. How about Shawn Michaels? Well, Shawn Michaels is in NXT. I don't see him doing main roster. I listened to his CVV interview. I thought it was great. Loved listening to Shawn and just the way his mind works with the business. I could see him just sticking with NXT. Kevin says, please remember me, LOL, when you blow up. The sky's the limit. I appreciate that. Of course. Of course. How could I forget some of the OGs here on the channel? A lot of you guys that are currently in the stream tonight. And for the people who aren't in the chat right now, but maybe are just watching or listening, I know I can count on you guys to continue to fuel me with that inspiration. And you guys are like the building blocks, the foundation on what this was building on. The community that we've built very much is a direct response to the support that you guys have shown our way. So for a lot of people who started here with us, I mean, obviously Sam Fran, Mama Ramos, the Diva, I mean, for sure them, but also Gabs, Sylvia were very early on, Kevin very early on, Martin, Tyler, there's so many people, dude. Salvi, there's so many people that I wish I could name right now, but you guys know. I hope you guys know that I do try to go out of my way, and when I see your name pop up in the chat, Muhammad is another one. I do want to give you guys that opportunity to be acknowledged and show my appreciation. Kevin asked thoughts on WrestleMania taking place in Saudi. You know what? It's a clear money grab. It's clear. It's for the business. I can't hate it because it's like, I get it. Money's money. But I think London or France should have been the first international WrestleMania. And that's something I will fight to the end. Tyler's, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate these creator content pro wrestling oh yeah, JD. JD's not for everybody. But I feel like he's very much like rage bait. He wants to get that reaction from people. I get it. Because it's all about eliciting emotion. Whether it's hate or whether it's positivity. And I feel like he does that really well. I'm not saying he wants hate. I'm not saying that. But he does kind of... He's very opinionative. And that's totally fine. But I can also see that he's not everybody's cup of tea. Which is fine as well. I do watch some of JD's stuff, though. JD, Santi, Wheezy Blonde, Con Man. I do watch a lot of their stuff and just try to maintain a... Denise Salcedo's another one. I try to watch their stuff and gain inspiration, but also just, see how they do it. And maybe take bits of what I like. So, but I do hear from you. I hear you. Kevin says, sheesh, what's that, 8K subscribers, 10K coming soon. I really think we can get 10K by Christmas. Like, we're doing big numbers here, man. Like, in terms of perspective, we had hit 2K last November. We hit 2,000. And by this November, there's a legitimate shot we can get to 10K. And it's all thanks to you guys. Kevin says, to put that into perspective, the recent Monday Night Raw at Springfield, Massachusetts had 8,000 people in the arena. You have a whole arena full of subs. I never thought of it that way. I never really thought about it that way, to think like it's 8,000 subs. Because you don't really... Sometimes it's just a number. And it's different to see like the names. Like, obviously I see you guys in the chat. But I don't see 8,000 names in the chat. So I can only associate the people that are here. When you really put it into perspective, it's like, yeah, 8,000 is pretty cool. Granted, there's people out there who might have millions of subs, but it's like, I've learned not to try to compare myself to other people, because you can get lost in that. And I'd rather just control what I can control. And I do take the time and think about, like, man, we are at 8K. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's awesome. You know? We're stepping in the right direction. Sanford says, George the Rat. Shout out to George the Rat. Jim Cornette. Again, another great Jim Cornette story. Tyler says, I think TKO was focused on money and power. Yeah. It's a business. We know that at the end of the day, it's the wrestling business, the pro wrestling business, but you can really tell there's a lot of focus on that word, business. And I can't get mad at it, because it's like, yeah, you got to make money at the end of the day. It sucks when it comes at the expense of the fan. Not being able to enjoy the show because of all these advertisements, not being able to afford tickets to a show, not being able to... I mean, I kind of don't want to pay $30 a month for the app, but I'm going to. Or I'm going to go for VPN. I said I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I got to do a little bit of research there. Kevin says, still can't believe Vince doesn't own WWE anymore. It's hit. You know, it's finally settled in. It was wild, though, when it first came out, I will say. We're going to go ahead and start unwinding here on the chat. The next time you'll see us go live, it'll be during the weekend following Wrestlepalooza and All Out, giving our instant reaction to the pay-per-views, what transpired, what will be the next phase in the wrestling world as we approach the month of October, with events like Wrestle Dream, Bound for Glory, and Crown Jewel on the horizon. I hope to see you guys there for that live stream. Of course, I will upload a link to the live stream when it is available on YouTube. For now, though, please go out of your way. Consider following us on X, Instagram, and TikTok at @JAreaPod_. Once again, for the people in the back, at @JAreaPod_, for more updates and other content on those respective social media sites. If you enjoyed this live stream where we talked about our predictions for Wrestlepalooza and All Out, consider giving the stream a like, comment down below some of the matches that you're looking forward to and your predictions for those matches, and subscribe to the channel. You cannot participate in these streams and join in on the chat if you're not subscribed. So go ahead, push the red button, subscribe, become a member of the J Area, and since you're already there, consider becoming a member of the Main Event Mafia, where you will have access to other content like post polls and videos every month. One last check here at the chat. Tyler says, I think about what happened to AEW male wrestlers, like, oh wait, I think what happened to the AEW, make like WWE Network, make it $9.99 like Ring of Honor, Honor Club. That's where the deal with HBO Max came into play. I don't think AEW is in a place to make a network just yet, just because they're still relatively new. I think their streaming deal with HBO Max is smart. And Honor Club, I mean, that's a good sales pitch for them. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't follow Honor Club. The only one I would follow is Athena, and she's been popping up on AEW recently. Tyler says, I think I'm going to watch TNA more often. I have. You can ask Sanfran. I keep downloading TNA Plus, but I've been keeping up with YouTube lately, just because I see a lot of their shows just being uploaded on YouTube for free anyway. But TNA is decent. I'm not going to say it's better than WWE or better than AEW, but it's a nice alternative. I enjoy it. And it's something we're going to be covering in the next couple of weeks now that Bound for Glory is just around the corner. So if you guys want more TNA content or AEW, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I try to keep up with all those comments as well and reply to those that I can. With that being said, again, I want to thank you guys for choosing to spend your night with us here talking pro wrestling, talking about Wrestlepalooza and All Out. Make sure you guys follow us on those social sites at jareapod_. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know the gimmicks. And with that being said, I will see you this upcoming weekend for our post reaction to All Out and Wrestlepalooza. I hope you guys have a great night. Hope you guys have a great night. Hope you enjoy the week, and I hope to see you on the next live stream. And until then, everyone take care. Everyone be safe.